So now before I start making my bone broth, I have to actually get some chicken bones. I have three things here. I have an empty container for my chicken meat. I have my frozen bag of chicken bones. I actually double bag it. This is about 3 chickens from the past. I like to save them up and make a nice big batch. Frozen chicken bones. And then I have the chicken that we just ate about an hour ago. I had it roasted from the store. It is organic. It was natural roasted, but here we have it, nice big one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wash my hands. I'm just going to go ahead and start ripping meat off. I don't like to use knives because knives and chicken grease don't go well. So I'm just literally going to reach in there, and after you learn a little bit, you begin to realize what you can rip off, what you can't. Now again, the whole idea here is to save as much meat as possible, but also then go ahead and save the bones in the bag for the freezer. So I'm going to do that, but then I'm going to take out the real meat. You don't have to be real nice and neat about this. As you can see, I'm kind of messy here. There's a little piece of cartilage. I throw that in there. I'll be good. I'll get some of that. See, you got a little piece of bone in there. There's a nice big bone. That's good enough. Throw it in there. I do not like to throw skin into my bone broth, so I leave the skin kind of in here. There's skin. I kind of leave that in there. There's a piece of meat. I don't always put it into the bin. I save a little bit just for moisture. Okay. So basically I'm making 3 buckets. One bucket has bones. One bucket has meat. One bucket basically has trash. There we go. There's meat. Take the skin off. Got a bone in there. And that's how we proceed. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay, now that I have my chicken bones, this is about 3 or 4 pounds of 3 or 4 actual cooked chickens. It's about 2 pounds, a little shy of 2 pounds. So what I'm going to do first is open up my bag and empty it into my crock pot there, in the slow cooker. Now it's going to stand up a little bit because they're frozen. So what I need to do is kind of use my hands again, kind of break them up, kind of push them down. It's actually going to be a pretty big batch. Feel free to break up the bones, that will only help. They're cold, I kind of push them down low. Okay, next up. Now I'm going to use some good old-fashioned apple cider vinegar. Just shake it up, get the mother out of there. And I don't add a whole lot. I add about 1 tablespoon for a big batch like this. The vinegar will help leach some of the minerals out of the chicken bones. It really won't affect the flavor. Go a big heaping teaspoon. That should be enough, pungent enough there. And then what I'm going to do is add water. A lot of people add vegetables to theirs. I don't like to do that because I like to have a nice straight base chicken stock that I can go ahead and do anything I want with. Sometimes after the fact I will go ahead and cook up some vegetables and then throw them in. But for the moment I'm just going to make this nice and simple. So all it's got is chicken bones, apple cider vinegar, and I'm going to put in, let's see here, here's 2 cups of water. Here's my first 2 cups. Here's another 2 cups. Probably going to be 4, maybe even 6. I want to cover the meat, but not by much. I want to actually have a little peak sticking out. That's okay. This will cook down a little bit, depending on how long you let it go. See, that's pretty good. With the water in there, I can the water's kind of thawing the bones out a little bit. I'm going to put a little more because it does tend to cook a little bit. See. That's about, that's fine. Just rip below the surface. So it's about 5 cups. So about 2 pounds of chicken bones, about 5 cups. And again, a tablespoon, I might want to put on a splash of this in. But Okay, now we're finally ready to go ahead and get some broth. First thing I need is a container, a plastic container with a lid. Put that in my sink. I have my bone broth. As you can see, it's actually cooked down a fair bit there. I have a strainer. I have a strainer, and then I use a soup ladle to go ahead and actually scoop out the bones and put them into here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to kind of pull it over to the edge. I'm in my sink. I take a nice big ladle full, and I just pour it in, and there we go. You can see all that's all the broth in there. Now it's still hot, still liquid. When it cools, it should gel up a little bit. It'll almost be like a jelly or a gelatin because of all the collagen and other things in the bones themselves. There we go. And I just repeatedly do this. And what I'll also do is I'll have a bowl here just for bones. I'll put that in there. It's still hot right now. I actually turned this off about an hour ago. I went for about 24 hours with my broth, maybe 25, 26 hours. And then I went ahead and I turned it off and let it kind of cool a little bit. It is still pretty warm. You can still see some chicken in there. That's all very soft. I can squish it down a little bit. But you'll see, here's a bone. And they're very soft. It breaks right apart. There's marrow in there, but it almost crumbles in your hand, and that's when you know, hey, you've done a good job. So I'll take this, put the bones in there, and we'll go again. Okay, eventually you'll get to the point where you can probably go ahead. Let me see how hot that is. That should be alright. And I'll just go ahead and pour that in. And get out as much of that as we can. And there we go. And again, it's not going to be real. It might look like this. If it's too clear, then you might have put too much water in. You probably didn't cook it long enough. This should gel up very nicely. It's kind of murky right now. It'll change color as it cools. What I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to leave it out for about an hour, and then I'll go ahead and I'll put it in the fridge. I don't want to put it in the fridge quite this hot. I'll put a lid over it. Here's my other container. You can see there's already a little bit of a skin forming on it as it cools. That's fine. It'll cool and gel all the way down. But I'm gonna let it sit for about an hour. Well, I'll just lay a lid over top of it, let it kind of cool off a little more before I put it in my fridge overnight, and then I'll show you the final results after it gets chilled. All right. I now have my bone broth chilling for about 6 or 7 hours, and you can see in the container. A little wiggly. Yeah, move it around a little bit, but watch. It's a thin layer of stuff on top. You can skim that off. That's fat. Some people like it, some people don't. You can skim that off, but you can see, there we go. It's jelly. It's gelatinous. It kind of wiggles. It kind of looks like jello on your spoon. This is the good stuff. This is what you're actually going for. Kind of wiggles. There we go. It looks a little gross, but when you actually warm this up, you throw it into a pan, you put it in a cup, you warm it up for 30 seconds in the microwave, turns right back to liquid. It's very hearty, very good. Tastes like chicken stock. Largely that's pretty much what it is. It's actually a little. You'll taste some salt in there. You'll taste some of the seasonings from the chicken that you actually just ate and you tore apart. So whatever you had in your cooked chicken will actually come out in here to some extent, which is why you want to make sure you use healthy chickens, and if you're eating organic, you definitely want to have organic cooked chicken or baked chicken. And there you go. If I can go ahead and stir it, if I warm this up for about 30 seconds, I can put it back in the fridge and everything will rise right back up to the top. and then if I want to, I can strain off all that fat. I can throw that away, or I can eat it. It's really up to me. It's really not that much. It just looks like it. And there you go. There's some healthy bone broth that you made right at home.